The lasagna was still warm in my hands as I climbed the front steps of my parents' house. Sunday dinner had been a tradition since I was old enough to remember. And even though I now live 40 minutes away and worked 60-hour weeks, I never missed it. The familiar scent of Mom's garlic bread wafted through the screen door, mixing with the sound of muffled voices from inside. I was about to knock when I heard my name. Sophie won't be a problem. She never says no to family. That was my father's voice coming from the kitchen. I froze, my hand suspended inches from the door. But 300,000? That's insane. How did you even— My mother's voice was strained, worried in a way I rarely heard. It doesn't matter how. That was Nathan, my older brother. His tone was defensive, sharp. What matters is that I need it handled before they start the legal proceedings. You said you'd help. We will, Dad said firmly. Your sister's got that promotion, remember? Senior financial analyst at that big firm downtown. She's probably making what? 150,000 a year now. More, Nathan said. She mentioned something about bonuses. My stomach turned to ice. The lasagna dish suddenly felt like it weighed 100 pounds. We'll tell her it's for the house, Mom said. And I could hear her rationalizing already. That tone she used when she was convincing herself something wrong was actually right. Say we need repairs for the roof, the foundation. Maybe 30,000 at first, then medical bills. I'll say I need some procedures. We can spread it out over a few months. She'll give it. Dad agreed. She always does. Remember when Nathan needed that business loan 5 years ago? 20,000, no questions asked. Never even asked for it back when the business failed. That's because Sophie doesn't understand how the real world works, Nathan said. And I could practically hear his smirk. She still thinks family means something. It's almost sad. Don't talk about your sister that way, Mom said. But it was weak, prefer. I'm just saying she's always been knave. Remember when she gave you guys her entire signing bonus to help with the mortgage? $40,000 just handed over. Who does that? A good daughter, Dad said. But there was something in his tone that made it sound like he was saying a foolish daughter. Exactly. So, we'll knock this. Take care of my debt. Maybe have some leftover for that vacation house you've been wanting. Sophie won't even realize what's happening. We'll space out the requests. Make each one sound desperate. She can't say no when Mom cries. I don't like lying to her, Mom said quietly. It's not lying, Nathan countered. We're family. Her money is family money. Besides, she doesn't have kids, doesn't have a husband. What's she spending it on anyway? That stupid apartment downtown, the one she worked her ass off to afford. I thought bitterly, my hands shaking. She'll be fine, Dad said with finality. So's always been fine. That's what she does. She handles things, and we need this handled. Nathan, you're sure there's no other way? Unless you want me in federal prison for tax evasion and fraud? No? This is it. My lawyer says if I can pay it back before the audit goes deeper, they'll probably let it go with penalties. Tax evasion fraud. My successful brother, the one with the Mercedes in the McMansion, the one my parents bragged about at every family gathering, was a criminal, and they were planning to make me pay for it. We'll start next week, Mom said. After dinner today, I'll mention the roof. Plant the seed. Make it good. Nathan said, cry if you have to. Sophie turns into pudding when you cry. I backed away from the door slowly, silently, my whole body trembling. The lasagna dish slipped slightly in my sweaty palms, but I caught it. Couldn't drop it. Couldn't make a sound. Couldn't let them know I'd heard everything. My car was parked on the street, and I made it there on legs that felt like jelly. I sat in the driver's seat, the lasagna growing cold on my lap, and tried to process what I just heard. My family, the people I'd sacrifice everything for, were planning to calm me, to manipulate me, to use my love for them as a weapon against me. The $40,000 signing bonus I'd given them. I'd lived on ramen for a year to build back my savings. The $20,000 for Nathan's business. I'd vacation I'd been planning for 3 years. Every time they needed money, I'd given it without question, thinking I was being a good daughter, a good sister. And they saw me as a mark, a knave fool to be exploited. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom, Where are you, sweetie? Dinner's ready. I stared at it for a long moment, then typed back. Sorry. Got called into work. Emergency audit. Rain check. 3 dots appeared immediately. Oh no, but we have something important to discuss. Can it wait? The roof. She was going to start with the roof just like they planned. Sorry, Mom. Boss says it's urgent. Love you. I drove home in a daze. The lasagna is still on the passenger seat, like evidence of my old life. The life where I believe my family love me, not just my bank account. By the time I reached my apartment, a plan was already forming in my mind. They wanted to play games. Fine, but they'd chosen the wrong mark. That night, I sat at my computer and began moving money. Every savings account, every investment, every liquid asset. I transferred all of it to new accounts they didn't know about. Then I called my bank and put fraud alerts on everything. Change all my passwords. Set up 2-factor authentication. My phone rang constantly. Mom, Tat, Nathan. I let them all go to voicemail. Monday morning, I walked into my boss's office and asked for a meeting. Karen Richards was a sharp woman in her 50s who built her career on reading people and situations. I need some advice, I said, closing the door behind me. Personal, not professional, but it might affect my work. She leaned back in her chair, studying me. Go on. I told her everything. The overheard conversation, the pattern of financial exploitation, Nathan's legal troubles. She listened without interrupting, her expression growing darker with each detail. First, she said, when I finished, you're handling this remarkably well. Most people would be a mess. Second, you need a lawyer, not for you, for protection against what they might try. Third, and this is important, you need to document everything. Every request for money, every transaction, every communication. I've already started, I said, showing her the spreadsheet I've begun. 5 years of financial hemorrhaging, all laid out in black and white. Nearly $200,000 gone. Karen whistled low. Sophie, I'm going to give you some advice that's probably overstepping, but I think you need to hear it. Your family is not your responsibility. Their debts, their crimes, their choices, none of that is on you. I know I said, though, I wasn't sure I believed it yet. I'm also going to suggest something else. We have an opening in our London office. Same position, better pay, and most importantly, an ocean between you and them. Interested? London, 3,000 miles away from the family that saw me as an ATM. When would I start? Next month. We'd handle the visa, moving expenses, everything. Consider it a fresh start. That night, the calls became frantic. 23 missed calls from Mom, 15 from Dad, 31 from Nathan. The voicemails progressed from concerned to angry to desperate. Sophie, this is ridiculous. Call your mother back. Sweetie, please. We're worried about you. Stop being a drama queen and answer your phone. Sophie, this is serious. Nathan needs our help. Family helps. FILY. Tuesday, I finally answered Nathan's call. Jesus Christ. Sophie, where have you been? Working, I said calmly. You know, at that job you all think is just a fountain of free money. What's that supposed to mean? It means I'm busy. Nathan, what do you want? We need to talk as a family. Can you come to dinner tomorrow? Can't. I have plans. Plans? What plans are more important than family? The kind where people don't scheme to defraud me out of $300,000. The silence was deafening then. I don't know what you're talking about. Tax evasion and fraud. Nathan, really? And you were going to make me pay for it. Tell Mom and Dad to lie to me, manipulate me. You were listening. You were eavesdropping on a private conversation. I was bringing lasagna for family dinner. Remember, family? That thing you said I foolishly believe means something. Sophie, listen. It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think. You were planning to call me your own sister, the one who's bailed you out for years. I'm in trouble. Soft. Real trouble. I could go to prison. Then you should have thought of that before committing fraud. Are you seriously going to let me go to prison over money? Money you can afford to spare. I couldn't afford the $40,000 I gave Mom and Dad. I couldn't afford the $20,000 I gave you. I couldn't afford any of it, but I gave it anyway because I thought that's what family does. Turns out I was wrong about what family means. Sophie, please. I hung up. The text started immediately. From Nathan begging for mom. Guilt tripping from dad demanding. I archived them all without reading. Wednesday brought a new tactic. Mom showed up at my office building at lunch, tears streaming down her face. Sophie, please just talk to me. I'm your mother. I stood there in the marble lobby, watching the woman who'd given birth to me sob dramatically, and felt nothing. The tears that had always worked on me before seemed hollow now, theatrical. We can talk, I said, right here in public. Can't we go somewhere private? No. Say what you need to say. She glanced around at the people passing by, clearly uncomfortable. Your brother is in trouble. I know, tax evasion and fraud. He told me he made mistakes, but he's family. We have to help him. No, you have to help him. He's your son. Use your money. We don't have that kind of money. You know that. Then Nathan should have thought of that before breaking federal law. How can you be so cold? This isn't like you. You're right. The old Sophie would have already written the check. The old Sophie believed you when you said family helps family. But the old Sophie didn't know that her family was planning to con her, to use her love against her. Mom's face went pale. How did you? Does it matter? What matters is that I know exactly what you all think of me. The knave daughter, the family ATM. The mark we never said. She'll never say no to family. She doesn't understand how the real world works. Suffy turns into pudding when you cry. Should I go on? Real tears now, not the manufactured ones. We were desperate. No, you were greedy. There's a difference. I left her there in the lobby and went back to work. That afternoon, I accepted the London position. Thursday was quiet. Too quiet. No calls, no texts, no surprise visits. It made me nervous. Friday, I found out why. I was packing up my desk for the weekend when security called up. Miss Winters, there's a process server here for you. My family was suing me for the money I'd already given them, claiming they were loans that I was now demanding repayment on, causing them severe emotional and financial distress. I looked at the papers, then laughed. Actually laughed. They were trying to legally force me to give them money by claiming I was forcing them to give me money. It was so absurd, so desperately pathetic, that I couldn't even be angry. I called the lawyer Karen had recommended. They have no case, she said, after I'd emailed her the documents. No written agreements, no documentation. This is harassment, plain and simple. We'll countersue if you want. No, I said. I don't want their money. I just want them gone. That weekend, I started packing, not just for London, but for a new life. One where love wasn't transactional, where family meant more than shared DNA, where I wasn't valued solely for my bank account. Nathan called one last time from a number I didn't recognize. You're really going to let me go to prison? I'm not letting you do anything, Nathan. You're going to prison because you committed crimes. That's called consequences. I could lose everything. I've already lost everything. My family, my trust, my faith, and the people who were supposed to love me. But you know what? It's liberating. I don't have to pretend anymore that you all care about me as anything more than a checkbook. That's not true, Nathan. You literally sat in Mom's kitchen and planned out how to manipulate me. You laughed about how Maeve I am, how I don't understand the real world. Well, congratulations. I understand it now. Sophie, please, I'm begging you. Beg someone else. I'm done. I hung up and blocked the number. The movers came on a Tuesday. I watched them pack up my life, each box a step further from the family that had used me. My phone had been silent for days. They'd finally given up. As I was doing a final walkthrough of my empty apartment, I found a lasagna dish in the back of a cabinet, the one I've been carrying that Sunday, full of food made with love for people who saw me as nothing more than a resource to be exploited. I threw it in the trash. At the airport, waiting for my flight to London, I got one last text from an unknown number. I almost deleted it unread, but curiosity won. It was from my mom. I'm sorry, not for needing help, but for how we planned to get it. You deserved better. I hope someday you can forgive us. I stared at it for a long time, then typed back, I hope someday you can deserve forgiveness. Then I turned off my phone and boarded the plane. 6 months later, I got word through my lawyer that Nathan had been sentenced to 18 months in federal prison. My parents had lost their house trying to pay for his legal defense. They'd moved in with my aunt in Florida. I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no guilt, no anger. They were strangers now, people I'd once known in a different life. My new life in London was everything the old one wasn't. I had colleagues who became real friends, relationships built on mutual respect rather than exploitation. I learned to trust again slowly, carefully, and sometimes on quiet Sunday mornings, I'd make lasagna just for myself, remembering the girl who used to carry her heart in a casserole dish, hoping this time her family would see her as more than just a bank account. That girl was gone now. In her place was someone stronger, someone who understood that sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is walk away from people who only love what you can give them. Family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up for you without checking your bank balance first. And sometimes the only person who truly shows up for you is yourself. That's the real world. And now, finally, I understand.